All right, this is awesome. So next up, we have Gabriel Rothblatt. And once again, this is thanks to our Falcon Heavy sponsors, Allset, a Tesla exclusive corrosion center that also offers exclusive services as tint wrap, ceramic, and PPF. Now, Gabriel is the Executive Director of the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation, Treasurer of the Florida Space Department Council, and Director of the National Space Society. So this is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours. We'll do like 20 minutes, and then you can do a question and answer if you like.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Will the clicker work?
Oh yeah, the clicker's there.
Yep.
And if it doesn't activate, just kind of go like this in the middle.
Chris.
Like a whip. Like.
Let's give a round of applause for Chris and the AV in the back there. Thank you. So actually, not my first time at this venue. One of my many hats I wear, because I can't wear hats, is the Director of National Space Society. I'm the Vice Chair of the board there. We have our headquarters actually in this hallway in this building. So right back here is the National Space Society office. We have our Director of Operations in the room, Jennifer Muntz, right over here. And she has some other giveaways. We're not going to call out names, but if you find her, we've got some Ad Astra magazines on hand. You're welcome to take one of those. So again, yeah, my name is Gabriel Goddard Rothblatt, and I was actually born on the 100th anniversary of Robert Goddard, who invented the liquid propellant rocket. And next March is the 100th anniversary of the rocket. I was born on the 100th anniversary of Robert Goddard. His rocket, Nell, is celebrating its 100th birthday next March, 2026. So look out for that. So, you know, I got this jacket on. You saw that in the photos here. This is the Voyager Circle jacket. It is a jacket that we give to our highest level of giving at the National Space Society. And we are celebrating 50 years of advocacy for human presence in space. All right? Thank you. Thank you. So, you know, the National Space Society began as the L5 Society 50 years ago, inspired by Gerard K. O'Neill and the High Frontier. And these are actually the illustrations from his book that they've put into this jacket. And I, you know, saw that it was not only lined with illustrations, but it was fully lined with the illustrations. So when they handed them out, I promptly flipped it inside out and wore it around the conference, and that's how I got to be called the Fresh Prince of L5. Can we get the slides up? Yeah, awesome. So big thanks to Tesla Owners of Florida for putting this together. They reached out to me through the museum, and I was super happy to come and be a part of it. Not only because I'm into space, but I'm also into Teslas. And all of this does relate back to the inspiration of Gerard O'Neill and his work. If we, let me know if you see this slides come back, and I'll forward it there. Gerard.
I'm sorry, Gabriel, we don't have any slides on file.
Awesome. So Gerard K. O'Neill, part of his vision, you know, was to settle space, but not particularly the moon, not particularly Mars, and he felt that any of that was going to happen through the settling of Lagrange points. Lagrange points are, you know, essentially gravitationally neutral points in space where you're being pulled by the moon, the planet, the sun in equidistant. So you don't really move when you're sitting there relative to everything going on. And these are places that we could build massive solar plants, you know, manufacturing, you can control gravity, all of this. And, you know, he was very big on something called, hold on. Space solar power. And so this is the new NSS Ambassadors shirt where we talk about space solar power. And in these Lagrange points, this is what we call it electrifying the cosmos. So when they came to me with the concept, I said, absolutely, I'm all in, of course. So a little, more backgrounds. I have a comment that says, meteorites don't fall far from the asteroid. And in my case, the asteroid is my parents, Martine and Bina Rothblatt, serial entrepreneurs in many different areas, but starting with space. So in fact, in the late 70s, my father wrote a business plan called Pan Am Sat, which challenged the monopoly of Intelsat, and it is because of that we can launch satellites as civilians, as corporations, not as governments. But so from DirecTV to SiriusXM to GPS, all of these things were made possible by the breaking up of Intelsat by Pan Am Sat. Once that had become a reality, Gerard O'Neill hired my father to be the president of GeoStar, which was the first satellite tracking service. It was mostly ships and trains and and trucks, but that was the first thing, the predecessor to GPS as we know it. And after GPS as we know it took off and ruined the business model of GeoStar, Martine transitions to SiriusXM, something that we all know and love now, right? So this is the dinner table discussions that I just grew up with, and that's why I say I couldn't have gone very far from from all of that. And so very interesting, for after that, my little sister gets sick. She has a rare cardiovascular disease, and my parents sell SiriusXM, and they buy the only known pharmaceutical available. This is just something on paper, and they start a company to develop it in order to give her more time. And now 30 years later, she's still alive, and so are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of other people living with chronic conditions like pulmonary arterial hypertension. But since that is not a cure in and of itself, that company today, United Therapeutics, is developing organs, renewable organs. So you maybe have heard about these pig kidneys, that are being transplanted into people, and some are living, now, months, years, and that this is a means of providing organs so someone doesn't have to die for you to get that opportunity to live and to live longer. But not only that, an interesting thing is that a part of the problem of organ transplantation is a problem of organ transportation. And so not only are they working on developing the organs themselves, but they have an entire pipeline of developing electrified aviation. And I had a little clip because in 2016, Martine spoke at a Tesla Motor Club convention and gave her story about how her red Roadster inspired her to electrify aviation through the E-44. So if you're familiar with Robinson aircraft, there's a Robinson, most common, it's got the tall neck, on top. You'll see them flying all over here, actually. So the Robinson aircraft, they took the guts out of it, and they put in Bramo batteries, and they broke the Guinness Book of World Record for sustained electric rotorcraft flight. And that was all part of the inspiration coming out of seeing Tesla, create a viable electric vehicle, and that, was the inspiration for everything else to come. So all that, coming full circle, when we talk about, going to space, we talk about long-term space habitation. There are very real concerns like space debris that we're aware of, many others that we're not aware of, but irradiation of organs is certainly one. And so the work that United Therapeutics is doing, both in pharmatech and in biotech, does have very real applications into space habitation, space settlement, and the actualizing of us getting to the moon, Mars, and beyond, becoming a spacefaring civilization. So, what was the verdict on the slides?
Yeah.
We don't see them up here.
Yeah, we didn't get any slides on file. Sorry, my good man.
What was that?
We didn't have any slides on file for you.
Ah, okay. I put them into the presentation.
Yeah, we can't find them.
Ah, okay. Well, then that explains that. Well, so I encourage you to go and check out the Tesla Motor Clubs. If you've not seen that, there's a 2016 talks about that the whole electrification. It's amazing. It ties in how it relates to the transplants and everything else. So I had a few other images over there talking about my background, our early adoption into Tesla. I'm very proud. Now we have a third generation Teslanian. My daughter, just got her permit and, is driving now. And for me, a little personal anecdote that didn't even have to do with electrification. I was in a serious car accident when I was 18, fell asleep driving, and very lucky to be alive. And after that accident, I said, as soon as they have, an automated, car that can prevent this, I'm getting it. I couldn't get the first one, but the neither or the second, the Roadsters,
Hey, Gabriel.
the Model S, way out of my yes.
Gabriel, good news. We found the slides. They were all the way at the end for your outro, so that's why we
Awesome.
couldn't find them.
Great, okay.
Yep, we're gonna pull them up for you in a second.
Yep, thank you. So that was a it was a life-changing moment for me. I made that decision, and so as soon as the Tesla 3 came on, I was an early adapter to that vehicle. And I think there's a moral to, oh yeah, see, there we go, right there. So we've got the green Roadster in Vermont, long ago, when I didn't have hair and the hair I had was black. Just beneath that, that's my beautiful daughter, Justice, and that black Model 3 that she just learned to drive. And then on the other end, our collection of EVs in there. And if this goes, awesome, great. So to tie in a few more of these amazing moments before I play that clip from Martine speaking there, that top left corner, that is me, Grammy Award-winning producer Andreas Levin, and the older sister to the Tesla bot, Bina 48. This is the most advanced social android that it is also a clone of my mother. So let's see if we can play this quick clip from Martine here. Maybe this.
So I decided to put my theory to practice that batteries, lithium-ion batteries, could in fact, just like are in the Tesla, could in fact lift a person-carrying helicopter. I chose this Robinson 44 because as much as I do like to experiment, I could not bring myself to tear apart an $8 million Bell 429. This helicopter only cost me $400,000, so I said, okay, we'll tear. If it works in that one, we'll get it up there. So my team tore out the guts of a Robinson R-44 helicopter. It's actually, I think, the largest selling helicopter in the world, made right in Southern California, and not really far from the Tesla plant, in fact. And we inserted our batteries and our electronics and our e-powertrain. This simplified block diagram will really show you the magic of why we have now had last month a successful ground test where we powered the helicopter up to 70% over at John Wayne Airport in our hangar over at John Wayne Airport in Orange County. At 70%, the helicopter got light on its skids, which means it's like skipping around like that. That's very analogous to just what happens in a helicopter when you pull the collective up to 70% torque. It'll start getting very light on its skids, and above 60, 70% torque, the helicopter's going to take off and start flying. So we are not allowed to fly the helicopter at John Wayne, so it's being moved right now to Alameda. It's a government military airfield just south of John Wayne Airport. So it's being moved over there. Flight tests will be next month, but at 70% when it's light on the skids, I can say with like almost 100% confidence that it will be flying at 100% power. Thank you. Let me pay credit to some elements of this block diagram, which has really made it happen. By the way, to show you again another Tesla inspiration for me, I would have thought that, like, you know, if I was a company like Robinson Helicopters that sells like literally thousands of helicopters, and somebody came and said to them, as I did, hey, I'm going to kind of help you make like a Tesla helicopter. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, wouldn't there be like a huge new market for you? Would you like to contribute? Maybe like give us one of the, you know, old trade-in helicopters? We don't want to have anything to do with this. And they gave us zero assistance, no documents, no drawings, no nothing, refused to let us use their name, just nothing, you know? And it's just instructive. I mean, how many of you saw the movie Who Killed the Electric Car? Yeah. I mean, isn't it the same old, you know, stuff all over again? So in any event, I want to pay credit, first of all, on the Reinhardt Motion Systems has given us an excellent and highly efficient, dependable inverter. This was really a key piece. We were not able to get any batteries from Tesla. They asked, the other engineers asked me on the team, they said, Martine, maybe you can ask Tesla for batteries. And I said, I only know the people in the service department. Now I know like the Tesla Motors Club people, so that's pretty cool. So we got them from this, how many are familiar with the motorcycle, the Bramo motorcycles? Yeah, some awesome batteries that they make. So we use the Bramo batteries. They're just about the same energy density as the Tesla batteries. And then this was the final and most challenging engineering piece, was the YASA electric motor. I don't want to get like too geeked out with everybody here, but the electric motor, so first, this is the normal engine in that helicopter. I mean, it's huge. It's literally this big. I mean, it would feel like a Maytag washing machine box. Here is what it was replaced with. And it's mostly just that box, actually. There's the actual motor right there. It literally like would fit, you could hold it in your hand. It's a YASA electric motor. The challenge for us is to have an electric motor that has the performance that we need, but at a relatively low RPM, because ultimately we have to couple all of this to the main rotor. And YASA was able to deliver for us better than any other electric motor out there. So this is not one that they currently have for sale, but they produced it and they plan to be making them available for sale for other applications.
I tried just to
so
have a couple minutes of that in there, and I'm not sure if the timing connected to it in there. So that was 10 years ago when you hear Martine talking about that, before they actually tested that and got in the Guinness Book of World Records. A couple weeks ago, the next version of that, the H66, so a slightly bigger one, and this time powered by hydrogen, is now, made its maiden test flight. And so in that 10-year time, we went from, not having even Robinson or Tesla willing to contribute to it, to now actually Robinson is a partner, as well as other aviation groups, in hydrogenizing and electrifying flight, which is absolutely incredible. All this, though, I just say, does go back to the inspirations that both Martine Rothblatt and Elon Musk got from these two books: The High Frontier, Human Colonies in Space, and 2081, A Hopeful View of the Future, which was actually came out just before I was born and is incredibly accurate and true today. And one thing that Gerard K. O'Neill saw as a physicist that he, worked through all of his writings is a realization that electrification leads to automation, and automation leads to greater quality of life. And so I think all of us as Tesla owners understand how electrification and automation come together to improve capabilities and efficiencies. And so if you're not familiar with either or both of these books, I highly recommend revisiting it, because we are living in the reality of this dream now, 50 years later from its original finding. And it definitely has been, again, the background and what kept me going, what's inspired me through my life to do what I do now, which is many hats in the advocacy for promoting human space settlement. If we go forward another slide, Chris. Yeah, so this coming up is right here in Florida, in Orlando. I am the chair of Together Beyond, the 2025 International Space Development Conference. So since we're Tesla owners here in Florida, this should be easier to get to than Sydney and the IAC and all of this. And this is our 50th celebration since the founding of the L5 Society. Saturday evening, we will have Jared Isaacman accepting the Von Braun Award for the dinner there, and I encourage everyone to join us. There are deep discussions on the moon, Mars, space debris, space elevators, space business plan challenges, you name it. We have Hoot Gibson. We've got Chris Ferguson, Captain Winston Scott, just an all-star list of astronauts, even the NASA administrator now, and many others. In fact, Elon Musk, when he first started SpaceX, this is where he went to pitch his ideas, because this is where the new ideas in space and space technologies get pitched, get funded. And I have now been 10 years the Florida chapter leader of this organization, advocating for things like mitigation of space debris, right? In our, capitalist democracy, you vote with your dollars, you vote with your actions, but it takes civilian, engagement to go lobby legislators, to educate legislators about the need for these, that there are people in their districts that do that. So one of the many amazing programs in National Space Society is a thing called March Storm, where we bring people from all over the country to DC. We give them education packets, we line them up with their congressmen and their senators, and they go into the office and lobby for extending the lifeline of existing satellites like New Horizons, and asking them to write legislation or take action in regards to space mitigation or the ability of business and rights in space. And so feel free to scan the QR code. Again, our Director of Operations is here as well. She's got Ad Astras, which is our quarterly publication for the National Space Society. I got one more slide in there, Chris. Yeah, so, and then my other hat here is the Executive Director of the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation. You all, anyone who's going to Pier 220 or has been over there, you're only a few blocks away from Spaceview Park. Spaceview Park is a place where we create monuments to the chapters of the American space program. So we have Gemini, Mercury, Apollo, Shuttle, and we are commissioning an ISS monument in the park as well. So while you're out there to watch a launch, please visit the the Space View Park down there. We have a beautiful museum as well, classical museum in downtown Titusville called the American Space Museum right by the Welcome Center. It is not open tomorrow. By the time you get out of here, it will be closed. But if you are sticking around Monday or you're visiting Titusville again, please come and visit us at the American Space Museum. I'm going to work out a way for Tesla owners in Florida to send an email to all participants with a voucher for free admittance to the museum. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and take questions about anything that you heard, like, or curious about in space.
Yeah, we have about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, we'll do 1 and then 2. Does that sound good? Let me grab a mic here.
I have children that are younger, 10 and 12, and I was curious if you have any volunteer opportunities and such that would get their minds kind of working towards that mindset to be spacefaring and educating their peers, because right now they're in virtual school, but when they talk to peers who are in like public schools and they talk about space, it's like deer in the headlights. Like they're not connecting with their peers. And so if they could find a way to educate each other and help a rise in that age group, it will kind of move us forward in the future. So I was just curious if you have like opportunities for kids that can get them involved.
Absolutely, yeah. So that is a little under our volunteer, threshold, but we absolutely do have programs. And in fact, the International Space Development Conference, more than half of it are high school international students who are there to present their competition plans. So we have Living in a Healthy Space, the Space Settlement Design Competition. There are actually half a dozen competitions, the spun debates, targeted at the high school, range. And we have kids from India, Brazil, Romania, who come here because these programs are part of their curriculum. We don't see as many public school students, unfortunately, because engaging with the curriculum is much more difficult. And at the time of the year that we hold it, it's generally kind of after most school programs. But absolutely, please pick up an Ad Astra. That magazine, is the best publication in terms of Space Matters. I see you got one already right there. And that'll have a lot of the the resources that you're looking for. But getting them, and as I said, it's not simplistic, but it's not it's not too much of an academic journal either, right? So it really hits in a good medium spot that you can follow along whether you're 10 or you're 70. There's something in it for everybody out there. And absolutely, the conference ISDC is amazing how many and how engaged and on top of their ideas and inspiration that all these students that attend are. Yeah, thank you for that question.
We have one more here, and then one more after this will be the last question. Here you go, sir.
Just a quick question. The helicopter that they put the electric motor in, you said they switched to hydrogen. Well, do you know the reason why they didn't continue down the electric motor path?
Right. So the motor, the drivetrain, is still electric, but what they've done is replace the heavy batteries with compressed hydrogen in order to power it. And so,
So is it like a fuel? Is it a fuel cell then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That is going to change the game on the ground and in the air. As far as that goes, because it's the only thing. And Gerard K. O'Neill says this in the 70s. He's actually talking about the future development, and then he says that hydrogen is the only thing that can develop the power ratio necessary to its weight to make it realistic.
All right, we have time for one more question. Anyone? It's fascinating stuff. All right. Well, Gabriel, that was just absolutely amazing. Let's give a hand to Gabriel Rothblatt. That was incredible. And will you be around the rest of the day?
I'll be here for a little bit longer.
Oh, okay.
I may not come to the Tesla lineup
Yeah.
later at here. I spend most of my time in this building or the museum, to be honest. But this is an amazing thing to see, and thank you all for coming to spend the weekend with the Tesla owners of Florida. I'm really inspired by everyone's participation.
Great. Well, let's give him a round of applause. It's fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your time and passion with it. That's amazing. Thank you so much.